Honda never looked at home in Mandalika, and things only got worse for them on race day. Marc Marquez suffered a horrendous crash during warm-up on Sunday morning, which many, including Marc, labelled as perhaps the worst crash of his career. A theory has now been suggested by the Honda camp as the possible reason behind Marc's crash that ruled him out of the Indonesian Grand Prix. I'm your host Dillon Shelley, and first up on Moto World, is the 2022 Honda deadly for its riders? Marc Marquez offered some reassurance in an official statement regarding his condition after the crash. "I'm okay after the big crash I had. For precaution and to not take any more risks, we decided not to race at the Indonesian Grand Prix." A team statement confirmed that Marquez had suffered a concussion. After a vicious high side at turn 7 in warm-up, Marc Marquez was declared unfit for the Indonesian Grand Prix. The Repsol Honda team rider suffered a concussion during the fall and will return home to Spain for further checks. Marc suffered 3 crashes over the course of 2 sessions, which even by his standards were too many. Honda's team manager Alberto Puig pointed out how this was strange and indicated that the harder Michelin tyres brought to Indonesia could be to blame. "It's very strange. Marc had 3 crashes and we have to try to understand why, because what he had today was brutal. Honestly, we have to analyse. They brought different tyres here and we have to understand everything, which is difficult right now." Marc's teammate Pol Espargaro, while speaking to DAZN, described Marc's horrible crash. "I was 2 seconds behind him and I saw him fly. I got really scared and actually cut the gas because I saw him on the ground like a dummy. When I got back to the box, I told my guys that I had never seen a crash like that in my life." He then elaborated how he had to pretty much ride without a rear brake. "On Saturday, I had 2 very big scares at that same point, and that's why I decided to play with the rear brake spring. I stiffened it, so that when I stepped on it, it practically didn't act. It was false. When I saw Marc's crash, I remembered that." During the post-race media debrief, Pol laid the blame squarely at Michelin to sum up their hypothesis. "When we complain about Michelin, it is not because we like to do so, but because of the problems we face. Marc was lucky not to get injured, but if that had happened, it would have been a consequence of a bad choice for us by an external partner." Fast feed. After a meeting of the Grand Prix Commission, it is decided that front ride height devices specifically for when the bike is moving will be banned from 2023. Repsol Honda's Marc Marquez, who is recovering from a recurrence of his vision problem, has no desire to smile, but he'll find a way to do it again. Suzuki's Joan Mir thinks that the problem with the asphalt was more on dry ground in Indonesia. "In the wet, we didn't deteriorate the track much. At the end of the race, even racing in the rain, we saw some potholes in the last few laps in the last corner of the circuit. Imagine on the dry, it would have been difficult. Be that as it may, we must be glad." Repsol Honda's Pol Espargaro suggested that the Indonesian Grand Prix was a race about survival. This whole weekend has been about surviving. "Finally, we are 6th in the championship, only 10 points off the lead, which is very good. We have to focus on this and prepare for a new weekend with the normal tyres. Even like this, I want to say sorry to the team because I think the bike could have achieved more." Pramac's Jorge Martin feels that crashing out for a second time in as many races is a shame. "It was a great weekend fighting for the top positions and then we had a wet race. Although I was feeling pretty good, I couldn't finish the race. I'm frustrated with myself, but we have to learn from the mistakes." Monster Energy Yamaha's Franco Morbidelli is of the opinion that it was a crazy race. Visibility was 0. "I got hit with some rocks from the track, but it was much worse in the tests. We don't have much experience with the new bike, so we need to recover and adapt as quickly as possible. Let's try to do it in Argentina." Ducati's Jack Miller explained that it was important to score points coming out of Indonesia. "Although there are still 19 races left this season, a lot can happen, but it was important to regroup after not starting the season on the right foot. I had some scares, but the Ducati is a very good machine." Who was to blame for Marc Marquez's crash during warm-up in Indonesia? Head over to my community page to vote in the poll and let me know what you think in the comments. And if you liked this video, feel free to subscribe and check out my others for all the latest in the world of MotoGP.